The tragic death of Walter Sisulu University student Sisonke Mbolekwa during campus protests has raised serious concerns about student safety and institutional accountability. With delays in the murder case proceedings, Sasco NEC Damian Mkansi joins us to discuss the impact of this on the student community and the pursuit of justice for Sisonke. Damian, thanks for your time this afternoon. Now, how has the student community responded to the delays in the legal proceedings?
No, thank you very much, Hugo. And I think before we could jump into the interview, I'd like to greet all your viewers. And as already introduced, the name is Damian Mkansi. I'm a National Executive Committee member of Sasco, a student organization that exists to champion and advance the interest of students across the education spectrum of South Africa. So I think one thing that we can say to you, it's quite concerning. Mainly because for us, of course, as students, this is a serious matter. You can imagine that academics are continuing across the whole country, yet, students ask themselves, are they safe in the campuses that they are in? And if it was them in the similar circumstances, would this matter been handled in a similar manner? And I think this is really agitating our students.
Now, what measures is Sasco taking to ensure justice for Mbolekwa?
Now, I think the first thing that I can tell you is you must appreciate that the court cases has been postponed twice already. And what has happened since then is that in this previous one that we went to, what we were told is that there are issues with electricity. And then we then asked about the backup generation system. And we were told that the court is actually out of fuel. You know what, the activists, that's how serious they want this matter to be expedited. They then offered to say, we are able to provide you with fuel. And they were told that that's not protocol. And in the way that we are viewing this, we view this as a delay, like a genuine delay. It looks like delay tactics. And it gives the impression that, the justice is being delayed here deliberately.
Why would you suspect that they are deliberately delaying?
Well, of course, we've got absolutely no reason not to suspect that there's a genuine delay in this matter. If you look at the position that the university has put itself in, first of all, when the issue happened, they tried to cover up and said this was not a student. So they never kept the fact that universities are gun-free zones where everyone that's there is not supposed to have a weapon. They never bothered about that. They wanted to misinform the entire public to say it's not a student. Second of all, we then moved on to say this matter is of serious public concern to everyone. Let it be televised. You saw that the matter was said no media will not be allowed to televise such a serious matter, which is of public concern. Lastly, now you see this constant delay, and so as students, we are concerned that it's deliberate delays from their side. We are not convinced that it is not. On which date did they discover that there's no fuel? That's why it's a backup system. You always ensure that your backup systems are ready for in cases of emergencies.
Damian, let's touch a little bit on the mood, if you will, at the Walter Sisulu University at the moment, obviously following this tragic passing, and these delays that you are speaking of and suggesting are deliberate.
So the mood that I can tell you now, if I were to highlight to you, you would have noticed that as Sasco, we've been saying that we were disappointed in how the minister handled this matter. First of all, when it happened, her office was quick to release a statement to say the person is not a student. Never said anything as it relates to the fact that there was a staff member that was in possession of a gun. And then subsequent to that, they went down to the institution, promised students that this matter will be handled accordingly. But I can tell you till today, even the cause in which the student died for, which are better living conditions, you would expect that this is a matter of public concern. The university by now should have a contractor on site already working on sites to ensure that those conditions are better. But I can tell you even today, that has since not been done. The minister herself has promised to say she'll go back to the institution, and that has not been done. So you can see that students slowly but surely are losing patience in this whole matter.
Now, one would imagine when an incident such as this occurs that there is a localized inquiry by the Walter Sisulu University. Are you aware of any attempt by the officials at the university to establish what it is that actually happened and obviously give a position on the use of arms, or at the very least the presence of firearms by personnel at the university?
Well, that's what we're saying, and it just looks like there's a deliberate attempt to throw everything underneath the carpet. The reality is that it's something that they cannot run away from. Even when they were releasing statements, they never said anything to that effect. I can tell you, universities are gun-free zones, irrespective of whether it's a staff, whether it's a student. It is wrong for anyone to have a gun. We don't even care whether it's a licensed gun or it's not a licensed gun. And I think in the way that media has been reporting, it has been very wrong in its approach. Universities are not supposed to be places where people are supposed to have guns, whether they're students or staff. And at this position, the university itself has not said anything to this effect, has not said anything to the risk of the university, because the reality of the matter that we must face is that this gun had to enter into the university. What do we say about the security in the university itself? So these are genuine concerns which we feel at this position, with just this small bit of evidence that's there, the university is in a good position to release a statement, a better statement, and to condemn this action, but they've never done so.
Are you concerned about the general attitude by authorities towards university students? And I bring this in light of the allegations that, or what you suggested, that the minister said that this student was not a university student. But surely the important issue is that someone has been shot on university property. So whether that individual was a student or not is not the issue. The issue is that there has been an actual killing.
Exactly. And I mean, maybe for the university, but for somebody who is a minister, a public servant of the Republic of South Africa, surely you should be concerned. How is somebody being shot with live ammunition in a university? That's the first question that you should ask yourself. Whether they're a student or not should be a secondary part. But this is what I'm saying. There's this deliberate attempt from these institutions to divert attention, to say it's almost as if someone was trespassing. But that should never be the narrative. Universities must remain gun-free zones, and we stand with that. And for that basis, the fact that there is somebody that had a gun in a space that they're not supposed to have it speaks to an idea of premeditated murder. That's what we're saying. That's why we're saying there should be no bail for this person. It does not deserve to be in the public. It deserves to be there, locked up in prison. By the way, he was saying that students must not get visitors. We hope that in the cell that he will be in, he should not be given visitors.
So let's talk about the advocacy work that you are putting in as Sasco NEC. Want to protect the interests of students, not just particularly at Walter Sisulu University. Just what support are you giving them, firstly, and secondly, how much else are you doing to ensure that this issue in particular is dealt with?
So what we have done, the fortunate part for us is that as an organization, you find that we have SRCs across the country, and we've spoken with our SRCs to start these engagements, so that even in other institutions where similar incidents have not happened, the institutions must put measures in place, and this is what we have been pushing for. But also, as it relates to this actual matter, we are mobilizing our students to say, even if they are deliberate attempts to delay, whether they delay it by a month or even a year, every day when there is a court case, that court case will be packed. And that is some of the things that we are doing to ensure that this thing is not off the face of the media, it's not off the face of the people. Because unfortunately in this country, everybody has a panic when something is happening. But as soon as something is off the media, nobody cares about it. And I can cite many instances or events of a similar nature.
Okay, that's where we'll leave that conversation. Damien Mokansi, Sasco NEC, speaking to us around the untimely passing of a student, Sisonke Mbolekwa, at the Walter Sisulu University.